You've heard it a million times, right? Give a kid some sugar and they'll be bouncing off the walls. But what if that's not true at all? Today, we are going to put this myth to the ultimate test. And our source material is, believe it or not, a stick figure vlog that went completely, hilariously off the rails. In this quote right here, this is our starting point. After things got, well, a little nuts, one of the stick figures, Green, pointed the finger straight at the sweet stuff. And that one claim, it was the sugar's fault, that's what kicks this whole thing off. All right, so let's set the scene. What exactly went down? It all kicked off during what was supposed to be a totally normal squad vlog. But as you can probably guess, normal didn't last very long. Okay, let's break it down. Step 1, the squad stumbles upon this thing called a sugar block. Step 2, almost immediately absolute chaos. We're talking a massive, out-of-control dance-off. And finally, step 3, Green posts an apology video putting all the blame squarely on the sugar. Seems pretty straightforward, right? Case closed? Well, hold on. Not so fast. Instead of just taking Green's word for it, the group did something pretty amazing. They decided to treat his claim like a proper scientific hypothesis. It was time to run a test. Okay, and this is where things get really interesting. See, if you want to find the real cause, you can't just guess. You have to design a proper test. You've got to isolate the variable. And in this case, that variable is the sugar. They had to figure out a way to separate the effect of the sugar from the effect of, just having fun. And this is exactly how they pulled it off. It's actually brilliant. They split into 2 teams. Group A, they get the awesome party atmosphere, but 0 sugar, none. Group B, on the other hand, they get to eat the sugar, but they're stuck in this sad, kind of depressing special room. You really couldn't have 2 more different scenarios. So the stage is set, the variables are isolated, the experiment is on. You've got a party on one side and a lonely sugar snack on the other. Let's see what happens. But before I show you the results, just think about it for a second. Based on everything you've ever heard about sugar highs, which group do you think is going to go absolutely bonkers? The no sugar party people or the sugar eaters in the quiet room? Okay, get ready, because whatever you just guessed, it's probably wrong. The results were a total shock, especially for poor Green. This is the exact moment the whole sugar myth starts to just completely fall apart. Look at this. The results were just, wow. Group A, the ones with no sugar, went into a complete heat frenzy, just as wild as the first time. And Group B, the ones who actually ate the sugar, they stayed totally calm. They were even described as being sad all the time. The takeaway here is crystal clear. The sugar did nothing. So, this begs the obvious question, right? If it wasn't the sugar that made them go nuts in the first place, what on earth was it? Well, it turns out the answer was hiding in plain sight the entire time. Yep, it was a cow. A cow. I'm not kidding. Right in the middle of that first vlog, a cow just randomly showed up. And that is what sent everyone into a complete meltdown. It was never the sugar. It was the shock and the pure, unexpected excitement of seeing a cow. And just like that, myth busted. The crazy hyperactivity had nothing to do with the chemical reaction to food. It was all about an emotional reaction to a sudden, shared, and frankly, pretty weird experience. So the big takeaway here is actually pretty simple. The cause of the chaos wasn't the snack. It was the moment. It was the excitement of the party, being with friends, the music. And yeah, you can't forget the cow. This whole stick figure adventure is actually a perfect, if a little silly, example of a real psychological thing called expectation bias. Think about it. Green expected the sugar to cause chaos, so when chaos happened while they were eating sugar, his brain just automatically connected the dots and blamed the sugar. It completely ignored the real cause, the cow, because the sugar story just fit with what he already believed. And honestly, we all do this all the time without even noticing. So let's just end with this thought. We live in a world that is obsessed with ingredients, what's in our food, what we put in our bodies. But what if the context, the environment around us, the people we're with, the sheer excitement of a moment, what if that's actually the most powerful ingredient of all? Makes you wonder, what other myths would fall apart if we just started looking for the cow?